Hello, welcome back to Private Practice Peace. So, we're going to move into setting up your office. This is a big part of going into solo private practice. It's going to be broken up into two sections. Part one, where we're going to talk about obtaining an office lease, and two, getting your office space ready. So, in regards to getting the office lease is a big deal because, that is basically your financial and legal commitment that you have to an actual physical space to run your practice in. Now, even if you're someone who is on here who plans to do just a virtual practice, I do want to know it is still important to at least have a virtual office space, and that would involve still searching for a professional therapist or someone else in the healthcare profession that has a physical license that will be willing to work in agreement with you on paying to use their address. But at any rate, we're going to kind of right now talk about how to physically get an office space. It's very crucial, because you want to be in an environment that is comfortable and professional for you and your clients. So we're going to go over just 10 steps in regards to how to do that. You need to determine your budget. That's the first thing. So, a helpful tip with that is search your area, see how much office space rent is going on average. And that goes into number two, identifying your location preference. So, depending on where you want to be at in the city that you're at, could determine how much the rent would be, hence affecting the budget that you set up for it. Okay. Um, Also, too, in regards to leasing an office space, there is also subletting, where a therapist that is already established, or maybe another professional in the health services, and you would just sublet their space, whether they have like a separate office that is available to you to rent, or if it's a situation where maybe they're not there in the evenings and you come and work out of there in the evenings. So there are different options in regards to leasing an office space, in that you can also sublet. So, in finding an office space, if you're looking for a physical office that's within a building, you need to understand your space requirements in regards to what it is you feel that you will need for your office. So, if you want to have a big office, a small office, if you want to have a waiting room, if you want to have a conference room, if you want to have a kitchenette, understanding, what I'm saying, okay, how much space would I need to have, if I want all of these things in my office. Okay. You also want to which is number four, check zoning and licensing regulations in your area. Sometimes, depending on the business office building, or if it's like a strip mall, those type of things, they have zoning. So it could be, if there's already a couple of therapists already in there, then you may not be able to move in, or it could be more of an industrial area and it's not zoned, for professional services like counseling. So you also want to check the zoning in your area to make sure you're looking in areas or spots where therapists are allowed. And also licensing regulations in regards to, you being able to practice, making sure your license is independent, as well as checking the business license regulations in your area. There are certain permits, things that you have to do sometimes depending on the municipalities. So you want to make sure that you go to your local, city clerk, county clerk offices, city offices, to see, what those licensing regulations are. Um, in looking for a lease, you want to explore all types of lease options. Like I mentioned, you got virtual offices where people, just basically have an office where they can use the address, maybe get some mail sent there. But it's more of a virtual situation. So that is a potential option. You also have the sublet option, where there may be a therapist who, let's say works during the day and their office is available at night, or vice versa. They work in the evening, but they have office space available during the day. You want to explore those options, as well as options related to, terms of the lease, a year lease, 3-year lease, 5-year lease, seeing, what the options are. Maybe you are more into like a month to month lease, or a shorter term 6-month lease, to see how your business takes off. Um, Number 6, you want to visit potential spaces. So if there are spaces that you are interested in, you need to go visit them. If you hear about something word of mouth, like, hey, you can come in and rent my office space. If I'm a therapist and you run into me and I say, hey, I'm not there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can rent my office space. Even though I'm offering it to you, it's still important for you to visit the space, to see how it feels for you, and to see if it will meet the needs that you have for your solo practice. Also, consider amenities and accessibility of an office space when you're looking for a lease. Is it in the area where you want to be in? Is it accessible to public transportation? Is it handicap accessible? Does it have all of the amenities that I want to have for my practice? Does it have a private bathroom? Do you have to go out in the hallway? Does it have a door that actually locks? Is there a window? You know what I'm saying? Or is there not a window? Okay. So is the traffic too frequent? Does it have a security door, to the main office building, in regards to safety? So considering all of those things, when making a decision. If you find a lease or find a place that you like, and it's getting to the place where you feel like, okay, I think I may lease this space, don't be afraid to negotiate the lease terms. It never hurts to ask. So if, let's say that, there's someone to say, hey, a landlord, hey, I have this office space, it's a 5-year, lease. There will be nothing wrong with saying, okay, well, I'm very interested in the speed in the space, can move in, as soon as, this coming month, but would you be willing to do a 3-year lease with me as opposed to a 5-year lease? So always be willing to negotiate the terms of the lease, as well as even pricing. Sometimes you'll have some landlords that would be willing to go down on pricing. Check for flexibility in the lease as well. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that you have the ability to kind of wiggle your way out. Should that be, there are people that had to end leases or change the terms of their leases due to COVID. Things happened in COVID where people couldn't be in their offices. So there was a lot of change that happened, that required a lot of flexibility. So check for flexibility in the office lease, as well as you want to review the legal documents. A lease is a legal document and it is binding. So you want to make sure that you understand the lease before you sign it. If you need to get a business consultant or a legal representative to read the lease to help you, then by all means do that. But you want to make sure that you understand the terms before you sign the lease. Okay, so now we are going to move on to getting your office space ready. Okay, and so this is the fun part, because setting up an office can involve a lot of planning, attention to detail, because you're trying to create your office space that is comfortable and welcoming to your clients. So now we're going to go over 10 steps to help you set your office. Okay. So first, you are going to define your space needs. So whatever it is you think your space needs, you define that, and that's how kind of how you set your to-do list, you know what I'm saying, your budget, all of those things. So if it's a situation where you're going to be working with kids and you feel like you need a playroom, then that is a need you have. If you have a high number of clients, or you project that you are going to, then you're like, okay, I definitely have to have, like a waiting room, that is big, so my clients can, wait, while I'm still in session. If you need Wi-Fi, those type of things, identifying your space needs, which moves us to creating a budget. Okay. And so creating a budget is based off of, what you feel your practice needs and the amount of money that you actually have, or the amount of money that you actually want to put into starting up your practice. I do want to point out that in the counseling or mental health profession in private practice, it doesn't take a lot to start a practice. Pretty much all you need is a comfortable chair for you to be in, couple comfortable seats in your office, maybe a table to sit a box of Kleenex on. If you want to have like a desk area to be able to put your things, that's fine. But really, that is, in an office that has a door that closes, okay, to keep, it confidential. But really, you don't need a whole lot. So if you don't have a lot of money, don't let that keep you from, identifying the needs of your office and creating a budget. There are many options. Put it, assemble yourself furniture. Resale shops have great deals on things like chairs, desks, little accents tables. You can get your practice together on a minimal budget and it would look really nice. Of course, as we discussed in how to obtain a lease, you want to select a suitable location. What I say is, if you somewhere that you see yourself, and somewhere that you feel comfortable and that you feel that your clients will feel comfortable. So you want it to, like, so a nice building, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a building with security, a well lit parking lot, or a parking garage, near public transportation, in a very nice, affluent area, maybe around other medical or healthcare professionals that are in private practice. So selecting a suitable location that will appeal to you as well as you feel will appeal to your clients. So for furniture and decor, like, this is so fun, because for the furniture and decor, what that is basically is where you get to pick, what your style, what you want to do. You can go with a clean look. You get to pick your colors. You get to do all of this fun stuff in relation to, you know what I'm saying, putting your office space together. So, like I said, you don't want to break the bank. Going with neutral, colors is great, but if you want to add some color, that is fine too. Okay. You also want to, make sure that you have decor that is, of course, not like offensive or like over the top. Of course, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of you represented in your decor. At the same time, you don't want to, take stances or share things like political interests and things like that, where you could potentially offend a client. Okay, so 5, you want to be able to ensure your privacy and your confidentiality. Okay, so that all goes back with to HIPAA. So you want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that, first of all, that you have a door that closes, that you have good sound insulation. If you don't, then you want to get a sound machine. to kind of protect the noise coming out of your office or your client talking. Or you could use the white noise app that you can easily get on any smartphone. There's also the sound cushions that you can put on the wall that absorb sound, when you are in your office. So these are all ways to ensure, confidentiality. Other ways, of course, is having a locked door, not having client information sitting out, or not having your computer screen visible. So you want to be in an office space where you are able to do all of that, and being able to ensure the confidentiality of the client. If it's possible to have two entryways, some office spaces have two entryways. So they have a in, where you come through the front, but on the side or in the back, there could be somewhere to go out. And that also helps client confidentiality because they don't have to run into your next client. Number six, you want to make sure that you equipped your office with everything that you need. Okay, equip your office with whatever you need: laptops, tablets. If you need toys for play therapy. If you need a couch so that you can do meditation. If you need adult, coloring books. If you need a copy machine. If you need a fax machine. Equip your office for whatever you need to be able to conduct effective therapy. Okay. Some people have all digital or electronic offices, so it doesn't necessarily require that they have, all of, equipment like a fax machine or a copy machine or, or things like that. But it is important on the other end, if you're running an office and you do have clients that may not, or you may not use an electronic health record system, that you have things like copy machine, fax machines, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're with a client and the client asks for a copy of something. You'd be like, oh wow, I don't have a copy machine. So you want to make sure that you equip your office with what is needed based on the needs that you have established for your practice. Of course, you want to, if you have a waiting area, which most therapy offices do have waiting areas. So if you have a waiting area or waiting room, a lot of times what it's called, you want to create a relaxing environment. So making sure that the seating is comfortable. I personally prefer waiting areas that do not have televisions. Some people feel like if you have a television, it gives people, opportunity to just kind of watch something. But I find that, waiting rooms with no TV, that are quiet, maybe just a little bit of quiet music playing in the background, maybe a few magazines, maybe some nice art on the wall. It creates a relaxing environment, and it can give clients time to just kind of think and decompress, from whatever they just left to get to the therapy session. Also, for those of you all who service children, maybe having a play table, for the kids, or maybe having a little corner or nook for the kids that's kind of colorful is also a good way to kind of get the kids relaxed and comfortable before coming in to see you. Okay. So you want to make sure you install all your necessary technology. The biggest thing nowadays is Wi-Fi. Having an office with Wi-Fi serves well. Okay, there's not a whole lot that we can do without Wi-Fi. So having that within your office will serve you well. Install necessary technology, like if you need a business phone line, if you need a fax line, if you need an alarm system or something of some sort for your office. You want to make sure you install the technology that is needed to ensure that your office runs safe. As far as administrative systems, some therapists in private practice will have a receptionist or an assistant that assists them with administrative duties like scheduling client sessions, or doing a billing for them. And those are great. Some therapists have them, some don't. But if that's an administrative system that you feel that you need, go ahead and do that. Another administrative system would be the electronic health record platforms, or the EHR platforms. I think that they are very important and very essential nowadays, especially if you're trying to have a digital and paper free practice. So basically, everything that you need to do with the client, intake, treatment plans, progress notes, billing, claims, it is all in the EHR, on your computer, whether desktop, laptop, and it is HIPAA compliant. And so, yes, so I think that is a very important administrative system to have, especially if you're in solo or private practice. And we'll talk about that more further into the course. And then number 10, ensure compliance with regulations. So you want to make sure that, whatever license that you have, that you are in compliance with what you are supposed to be doing in that profession. So you want to make sure that you are being ethical, that you are being professional, you know what I mean, at all times when you are running your practice. Because the reality is that you are providing a service, you are representing your brand. So the truth is that if you're not being compliant, if you're not being ethical, if you're not being professional, you are not doing what you are supposed to do. Okay. So making sure, you know what I'm saying, that, you are being nice to your clients, making sure that you are returning phone calls, making sure that you look at your governing regulations for your license, and making sure that you are abiding by what is supposed to be done. And that is in regards to HIPAA as well, being HIPAA compliant. If you are working with insurance companies, being compliant with the insurance regulations, as well as with EAP companies in regards to regulations. So that can be helped by going to trainings, reading up on things, having those code of ethics there with you, joining associations like ACA and the MBCC or NASAW, though that is how you stay aware of the regulations that govern you, and that encourages you to stay in compliance. Okay. So lastly, okay, so we want to remember that creating a welcoming and professional therapy office is an ongoing process. So just because you get it all started up, and set up, does not mean that, it's going to stay like that forever. You need to regularly assess your space to identify the needs that tend to come in regards to you as a professional, as well as with your clients. Okay. Because the goal is to ensure a positive experience for your clients as well as yourself. So don't be stuck with it being one way. Always assess and be willing to evolve to make your office space the best that it can be. All right. Thanks for this discussion. I will see you guys in the next video.